Okay, awesome. Okay, so I'm going to talk about how to make effective science TikToks that go viral. But before I begin, why should we as scientists care about going viral on the internet? Isn't that a little silly for scientists to care about going viral? Well, I'm going to make the case that it's important because we're competing with a lot of science misinformation out there or sensationalistic claims by journalists. So I personally think that it's really important to get real science from real scientists like us out there to the general public. Good science communication is really important. And obviously, virality isn't everything, but we live in an attention economy where we're competing for attention for all sorts of things, and it's essential to have your content seen so you can sort of build a platform and share important things. So now, why TikTok? So TikTok is currently the fastest growing social media platform, and it's about the third most popular social media platform. And from my little over a year on TikTok, I've seen that there is a huge untapped demand for science and psychology content by scientists. Yet there are very few scientists on it. There's a small community of us science or psychology creators, but people really want to hear from scientists and they quickly follow scientists. So it's easy for scientists right now to get a following because people are interested in that kind of content. Also, TikTok has a huge organic reach that's larger basically than any other platform. And by organic reach, I basically mean that even if you don't have a following, you can create really engaging content. And if it gets high engagement metrics, so things like high watch time or high likes, etc., it will be sent out to people's algorithmic For You page. And even if you have 0 followers, your content can be seen by millions of people. So, I mean, my experience on the app is I posted a few TikToks early on, and the first 3 TikToks got me around 20,000 followers. And then I hovered at 40,000 followers for a very long time. And then in about like a month, it jumped up to 900,000 followers. And one time overnight, I think I got 160,000. So sometimes like they're just these algorithmic explosions on TikTok, and you don't really see that on any other app. And so there is potential if you just create good content that people watch, that you can get your content seen. And I mean, it's a lot of algorithmic luck. So you don't really know what's going to take off. You don't really know what's going to do well. It's a lot of persistence. I've made around 140 TikToks at this point, and only a few of them have really sort of become hits, and only a few of them have accounted for most of my following. So you have to be persistent. You have to be able to deal with things that don't succeed. You have to also pay attention to what works, to what your followers like. It's just like a lot of trial and error. And just a combination of those things, algorithmic luck and persistence and paying attention to what works, can lead to TikTok success. And again, I'm going to make the case that it can be easy for us scientists who know what the interesting studies are to succeed just by sharing content, because people find that really interesting. Okay, now I'm going to talk briefly about what the structure is of TikToks that I normally do. I don't always stick to the structure, and you don't have to stick to the structure, but this might be helpful for you when you are creating a science TikTok to use. So the most important part of a TikTok is the hook. And the hook is basically like the headline of the TikTok. This is the first sentence. And your goal of the hook is basically to like persuade the viewer to not scroll and to watch the video till the end, because watch time is really what matters in getting your TikTok seen. So just like how when you want to come up with a catchy headline for an article, you have to come up with a catchy hook that works. And this is probably the most important part of your TikTok. Then the body of your TikTok is about 15 to 40 seconds of you explaining the psychology study or scientific study or finding that you're talking about. I generally also have a main takeaway of the study that I talk about. So I say like, this study illustrates, I just have one sentence so people can like take away or learn one thing summed up from the TikTok. And then I tend to have like a call to action. I tell them who I am. I say I'm a psychology researcher, and I tell them to follow to learn more about psychology. People don't really mind if you ask for followers and say what you will get by following you. And in fact, people sometimes want to know what they'll get from following you, what value they'll get from this account. And this will tend to get you more followers. So yeah, I'd say don't be afraid to like introduce yourself, share your qualifications for talking about this research, and ask people to follow you if they want to learn more about science, especially if you have a science-based account. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to talk about, I'm going to show you an example TikTok, and I'm going to show you sort of how this general structure plays out in my example TikTok. So this is my most like viral TikTok. I don't know why it became the most viral, but it's sort of just a simple example of how this structure plays out. So here we go. You are about to witness a crazy psychological phenomenon known as change blindness. Okay, so that was the hook of the TikTok. And now we're going to get to the body of it. Now watch closely as this experimenter approaches a random person on the street and asks for directions. Did you notice anything weird just happened? The experimenter switched places halfway through the experiment with a completely different person, and the participant didn't even notice. In fact, 50% of participants in this experiment did not notice the change, which shows just how unaware we can be of changes in our environment, even if they're happening right in front of us. You are about to witness— Wait. So there you saw the body of the TikTok, and then I had like a quick sum up, and I said, this study shows just how unaware we can be, blah, blah, blah. And then finally, I'm a psychology researcher, follow to learn about more cool studies. Okay, finally, that's just my little call to action at the end. So again, this is about, this is like less than 40 seconds. This is just simple structure of a TikTok. You can get longer and more complicated, but generally shorter is better for the algorithm and also just people's attention spans nowadays. So here are some things that work for me. These aren't really like science-based things. I don't know how the algorithm works exactly, but just in my experience of like being a TikToker, here are things that work for me and might also work for you. So yeah, feel free to take them with a grain of salt. So I mean, the number one thing that matters, I think, for the success of my TikToks is just what study I select. I think that matters over presentation or charisma or anything, is just selecting some study that captures people's imagination. And since we're all psychologists, we study this, we kind of know the studies that are most interesting that will really capture people's attention. So this really shouldn't be hard. This is just the content curation part. And I think that science TikTokers also have an advantage over like people who are comedians or make memes on TikTok, because we don't really have to come up with original content. It's original how we present the content, but in terms of content creation, we already like know what studies are interesting for people. So I think this is like the easy part and the fun part and the part that matters most. 30 to 60 seconds matters most. You can now do up to 3-minute or 10-minute TikToks. Sometimes you can do really well with long form TikToks, but usually those work best if you make them like a listicle. Like I've talked about the 5 most unethical psychology studies, the five cognitive biases that are really important. Those forms of content work for long form. It's harder to make a long form video succeed. Sometimes it can pull off, but yeah, just aim for short. Make sure you film natively in the TikTok app using the TikTok video editor. The TikTok video editor is actually really easy to use, easy to learn. It's easy to figure out cuts and everything. It's an excellent video editor. TikTok will prioritize content that is like filmed natively for the app, and they don't like it if you repost content made like from another app, unless you add something else to that, like you on a green screen pointing to the content or something. So just really make sure you film in the TikTok app, or else they'll probably punish you. It's good to incorporate lots of cuts, like just kind of cut after every sentence. That both makes your videos kind of shorter and more interesting as well. It can kind of go a long time if we just like talk for 60 seconds, because we pause a lot in our everyday speech. It's generally good to talk fast as well, because you want to get people's attention, but don't talk too fast to be unintelligible, of course. This is an important one that a lot of people overlook. Just talk to the camera for a TikTok. A lot of people like to do trends where they do a TikTok dance and they point to the screen. These work if you're like a good dancer or something, and these are fun, but TikTok, at least in my experience, I think the TikTok algorithm prioritizes talking videos, and people like it, especially if you make an educational video, if you just share something directly to the screen. And a lot of people, for some reason, don't like to do this. They want to do something where they're not talking or they're just pointing to a screen. But talking videos will do better. And so, yeah, just don't be afraid of talking to the screen. Highly visual content tends to do well. So the viral video that I showed you earlier, it incorporated a video of the study, and that probably helped it. My most successful TikToks either include like a really engaging visual, like a picture or a figure from the study, or a video. It's really easy to use the green screen effect within TikTok to incorporate a visual. So if you're talking about a study, just pick some sort of visual or picture or something that will make it more engaging for people. It's a really visual app. Your audience might be people with absolutely no exposure to psychology. It's a global audience. Only about 50% of my viewers are from the US. The rest are around the world. And a lot of your viewers might be really young. They might be like in middle school. They might have very limited exposure to science. They might not even know what psychology research is. So aim for these people. And for this reason, sometimes the like really basic Psych 1 studies succeed on TikTok, because these are people with, it's not like academic Twitter. These are people with really limited exposure. Although you get a lot of smart people, of course, with exposure, but you want to be able to aim for a really wide global audience. Make sure to be enthusiastic and excited. If you're excited about what you're presenting, and you know, we're psychologists, we are excited about this field, just make sure to convey that, and your viewers will be excited as well. Be as concise as humanly possible. I think the impulse of scientists is to add way more detail than necessary, to be as precise as we can. Sometimes it feels bad to omit detail. And if you feel bad about that, just add a few comments, adding more detail, add the citations in the comments, do like whatever you need. But usually, like when I reshoot takes, I try to be more concise with each take, and I try to like omit needless stuff, because again, it's an attention economy. People have limited attention for this stuff. So just get to the main point. If you're creating your own account on TikTok and you want to do science TikToks, you should stick to one niche like psychology or science. Don't like do memes or political content and just mix it all together, because then people will have less of a reason to follow you. They won't know what to expect from your account. So this is common advice to sort of make your account have one niche. And a lot of people kind of create multiple accounts if they want to do different things on TikTok. It's just, it's a bit easier if you stick to a niche. Respond to comments. It sort of helps you grow community, and it also helps the engagement of your video if you just want to talk about that. Have a good ring light. So I have a ring light. I'll show you right here. Ring lights are great. They really, lighting is like, the algorithm likes it if you have good lighting on your face. And like if you generally have good resolution. So like a ring light is like a really good investment. They're not very expensive. Jay and Katie have gotten a ring light for our lab. So if you're filming TikToks in our lab, then you can use that. But yeah, if you want to get your own, they're also only like $30. So it's worth it. You don't have to write a script for a TikTok. I never write a script, but I do reshoot clips to just like, you know, if my phrasing isn't right the first time, I'll just shoot it again, and then I'll just workshop that until I get my phrasing right. And TikTok is also an informal platform. So be anti-perfectionist and just focus on consistently getting content out there. Like you really don't have to put too much work into a TikTok. It should take only about 30 minutes to film a TikTok. And yeah, just I would say focus on getting content out there, seeing what works. Also, people don't really mind if you make mistakes, if you slip up a word here and there. TikTok's sort of forgiving. It has an informal style. And yeah, good to be anti-perfectionist. In terms of like content that works, a lot of it's trial and error, but here are my most viral TikToks. I have a playlist on my TikTok of my most viral ones. And again, people love the classic Psych 1 studies about conformity, Milgram, etc. Those studies are famous for a reason. They kind of resonate with people. People like interactive stuff. So if you say like, here's a quick psychology test, try this out. If you can get someone to like kind of participate in the task or answer a question. People love moral dilemmas. So one of my moral dilemma videos did well. There's another creator who just kind of, his whole account is like these moral dilemmas, and people really like sort of, engaging in that. People like visual illusions are pretty compelling, optical illusions, things like that. Yeah. You can see like all of these videos have a visual in them. So visual content, interactive content, the classic studies. Some new studies do really well too, but it really, you kind of have to learn. It's also unexpected what does well too. So you can also kind of just go with your intuition there. Yeah, also don't reinvent the wheel. Follow other science TikTokers. Jay has this Twitter thread. I can link to it in the chat about science TikTokers that are good, who you should follow. And I recommended a bunch. I show those here. There's a growing community of science and psychology TikTokers, and I just recommend that you follow basically all of them, see what you're doing, see what they're doing, see what you like, join the science TikTok community. It's a very nice community. Yeah, and I'll link to this Twitter thread so you can follow other people and sort of see what science and psychology content is out there. Yeah, also look at hashtag psychology on TikTok. Just search for the most recent psychology videos, search for what's doing well. A lot of these videos are very like scammy, and they're by like non-scientists, and they sometimes include misinformation. So it's really a mixed bag. So it's good to try to like add our more scientific approach to the existing content. I mean, there's plenty of good content out there as well. I don't mean to insult all of psychology TikTok. I'm just saying it's a mixed bag out there. But also searching hashtag psychology gets you a sense of like what resonates with people in terms of communication style. So I'd say just like look at that hashtag, see what's doing well, and maybe like see how you can fit into that.